right, folks, welcome to 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗃𝗏. I'm live in my hotel room in an undisclosed place. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We're going to be talking about TPUSA, I believe has been, come on. Come on, really? It's pretty obvious from here. Completely hijacked. And it's going to cause the massive fracture in the right. It's going to be the big battleground of the right coming into 2028. And I think we saw the gloves come off with Ben Shapiro now and Tucker Carlson. So this is going to be a great show. I have Alpha Warrior joining me. Alex, I hope you also put us up on Facebook. I just see us live on YouTube. Hopefully we're also on Facebook here. Folks, hit the notification button. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, Venmo. Venmo is 𝗬-ROD1977, 𝗬-ROD1977. When the lights go out on Amazon, please leave an honest review. And also my mama's book. There you go. We're a little slow today. Also, the Mexican Mix, my mama's book. And please leave an honest review on both of them. Now, I got to say, folks, a lot is going to be happening coming into 2028. And I believe now the shots have been fired with Ben Shapiro, TPUSA. Now we know what it's going to be used for, right, folks? Now this is just my opinion. It's hijacked. It's completely hijacked. And it's going to be used to divide all of MAGA and the right, because that's the only card they got left. The Democratic Party's over. I said it would be dismantled and done with. Now it's time. Let's divide MAGA. That's what's going on now, folks. That's exactly what's going on now. And a vacuum has been opened. And who better to fill that void that Charlie Kirk has left than someone like Ben Shapiro? I don't know. They're going to be battling for it. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, folks, get your trim with Nino. Get trim with Nino. We've all seen the headlines that talk about Ozempic and similar miracle weight loss shots. But what most people don't realize is a major analysis just found out that people who stop taking these weight loss injections gain nearly all their weight back within a year. That's the catch. These drugs only work while you're taking them. They're expensive, and the moment you stop, your body fights back. This is why I like BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate. And everyone is obsessed with the weight management results I've seen with it. It helps my body naturally trigger the same hunger-controlling, crave-reducing signals that Ozempic would, but without the needles, prescriptions, and scary side effects. And we really don't know what the side effects are on this junk. It also promotes safety and fullness, helps reduce hunger hormones, supports fat loss instead of muscle loss, and helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. For a limited time only, grab a bag of BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate for 40% off at Trim with Nino. Plus, you'll also receive a 60-day satisfaction guarantee and free express shipping and subscriptions. Once again, that's Trim with Nino, baby. Yeah. So I'm taking some time here in New Mexico to take a break, to be quite honest with you, from all the chaos I endured in ICU with my dad for the last 3 months. So I finally get a break to enjoy a little bit of Christmas. And once I saw that opening, I said, I'm taking it. So I'm up in New Mexico right now just today, really. And then I'll be heading back to El Paso, Sancho's land. Sancho land. Folks, X is Nino Boxer, patriotwear.com. Get your free gear, or it's not free, sorry. Get your gear. I'm used to reading these ads. I don't know what just happened right there. Also, Ringside with Nino. Ringside with Nino is Tuesday the 23rd, and that is at 5 p.m. So Tuesday the 23rd at 5 p.m. Also, Wano Saban will be the general in the general's tent. That's going to be epic. He could be in South America from what I understand. And that will be at 5 p.m. the 26th, General's tent. Everything is not everything. Geez. Annuals are 50% off right now. Annuals are 50% off right now at ninoscorner.tv. Sancho Claus. There he is. There's the Sancho. So 107 will be the next general in the general's tent. 50% off all annuals right now. Nino's Corner.tv is absolute fire. 107 is up there. Gene Decode, 2 parts on Gene Decode because I messed up halfway through our podcast and I stopped recording. I don't know why. I thought I was going to share screen and I hit the stop record button and then, it blew up the podcast. But there's 2 parts to that Gene Decode. Also, Craig Sawman Sawyer's coming on. Stuart Swerdlow's coming on to Nino's Corner.tv. I know you all just saw his epic podcast he just put out there. Well, hey, folks, you decide. That's some ballsy predictions, but he's saying he's being briefed by very high-level government officials, and this is the way it's going to play out. And, when you think about it, nothing is an accident. This would be how things are done. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see if he's right. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this is the way it plays out, the way he said it with all these predictions that he's made. So far, he's 2 for 2. So he's doing, or 2-0. He's 2-0. So let's see what happens. Also, John Burke, who's a near-death experiencer. Actually, he studies near-death experiencers. And we're going to be talking about what happens when you see the light and where do you go, the whole thing. That's going to be epic. That's going to be on YouTube. SG Anon's coming on. Craig Lund and 𝗀𝗃𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 are coming on together on Nino's Corner.tv, folks. And without further ado, you might want to turn it down or turn it up because I'm about to get loud, baby. Let's go, folks. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah. All right, let's get into this. I'm doing this from my phone today, by the way. So, folks, we have a whole new fucking psyop now. Okay, this is where we're going with this shit. And I'm going to get, Alpha Warrior's take on this, and we're going to discuss this. But I see it for what it is. I think it's plain as day. Basically, Ben Shapiro got on there and declared war in the name of Israel on the right. Basically declared war on everybody. Who told you that once Charlie was taken out and assassinated, a vacuum would open up for someone to fill? Now, they're all going to be fighting on who's going to fill this. Well, I guess we know who filled it, right? 𝗀𝗃𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁. Oh, boy. Here comes Ben Shapiro, the master manipulator. Folks, honestly, you don't see what's going on here. I mean, you got to be able to see what's going on here. TPUSA, in my opinion, has been hijacked. It's been hijacked. It's a captured operation. Charlie Kirk was TPUSA. He was TPUSA. Without Charlie Kirk, this is like, what we're watching here is, in my opinion, commercialized Christianity at its peak. It's in the name of Jesus, give all your money to us. In the name of Jesus Christ. Yes. That's what I see. I don't know what you all see, but that's what I see. Oh gosh, you can't ridicule or criticize us. How dare you in the name of Jesus? That's what we're looking at. If you could always hide behind the Bible and get behind Jesus, then you can't ever you can never say anything to them. You can't, because you're going to go to hell. Yes, you're going to be doomed, and your fate will be hell forever. Don't ever criticize TPUSA. We're holier than you. Don't you know that? Don't you understand that? It's no different than the left to me. I've always said, once the pendulum goes left, it's going to go right. And guess what, folks? Here we go. Enjoy the ride. It's going right. So I feel that little country in the Middle East has a big stake in TPUSA now. And they own that ass. So they simply replaced Charlie Kirk with, I don't know, let's just say Ben Shapiro, 𝗀𝗃𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁. I don't know. There's a lot of money in there. And from what I see, what they're going to use this for is division. Ben Shapiro got up there and gave warnings of charlatans and grifters and why certain personalities should be deplatformed. Oh, hold on. Who grifted off Charlie Kirk's death? Who raked in $150 fucking million? Okay. Just saying. Basically, he'd made a call to action to censor and delete, as the left once did. Remember that in 2020 when the left was busy doing that? Well, now the right is doing it. He also stood on his soapbox to convince you that Tyler Robinson narrative is an absolute truth. So now the Tyler Robinson narrative, that you got to accept it. You got to accept the trans furry narrative. No. Don't ask questions. Don't ask any questions. What's wrong with you? You can't be doing that. Huh. I don't know, folks, but I say this guy is dangerous. Now, aren't we? So I think that we got to follow the money. Who are the people that are donating to TPUSA now? Or who are they accepting donations from now that they weren't before? That's all you got to do. That's all you got to look at. And we're also going to break down the presidential address with Alpha Warrior here and talk about what it's truly about. It was important for Trump to get on there and reiterate his accomplishments since taking office, since taking the presidency, and boost the morale. And Alpha Warriors are going to go into that. Also, President Trump will be making an announcement again tonight to the nation, or today, later, in just a little while at 1 p.m. So I'm sure everyone's going to be tuning into that. I'm going to be watching that to see what he has to say. This one could have a different kind of tune to it. We're also going to revisit and reevaluate the Candace Owens and Eric Kirk meeting from a law enforcement perspective, a law enforcement detective. He's a detective, Alpha Warrior. And we're going to be talking about the release of the Epstein files. It begins today, depending on what it entails. It's either going to be a huge nothing burger or it's going to be a game changer. So it's going to be, one of those two. It's going to be either be a game changer or a big nothing redacted burger. So I guess we'll see. And, my question is, why did Dan Bongino depart? Is it because he knows nothing will be in the Epstein files release? Is he like, I'm getting ahead of the ball, I'm getting the hell out of here because I know this is just going to be a mess. This is going to be just a catastrophe. I'm out of here. I mean, is that what's going on? I don't know. You tell me. I lay it out for you all to play it out, but let's first get into this. This is all about 2028. MAGA infighting erupts at Turning Point USA Conference in Phoenix. Members of the MAGA faithful gathered Thursday to kick off Turning Point USA's America Fest. God, tell me this ain't commercialized. America Fest. The largest meeting for the organization since its founder, Charlie Kirk, was shot to death on the Utah College campus in September. Despite the somber backdrop, the event quickly devolved. It devolved into a spectacle of MAGA infighting. MAGA civil war officially erupted. See the guy right there? There's Charlie Kirk. That was TPUSA. That's who TPUSA was. Now it's TP for me bunghole. Okay? That's what it is now. TP for me bunghole. The conservative movement is in serious danger, Shapiro said, arguing the danger is not just on the left, but from charlatans who claim to speak in the name of principle and actually traffic in conspiracies and dishonesty. He called Bannon and PR flack for Jeffrey Epstein ahead of the imminent release of files related to the late convicted sex offender, while praising President Donald Trump and his administration's handling of the issue. Trump pushed to stop Republicans in Congress from voting to release the files, though he signed the legislation once it is passed. Both Bannon and Trump appear in photos with Epstein that were released by House Democrats. Shapiro particularly focused on Carlson, both for elevating Owens' conspiracy theories about Kirk's murder and for his recent interview with far-right influencer Nick Fuentes. I mean, this guy went all in on these guys. on both of them, on Nick Fuentes, or on all three of them. Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk. Because how dare you question the narrative? Don't you understand what happened here? It was Tyler Robinson. Anyone who thinks otherwise, you've got a this is the same thing. It's a page out of the same playbook as 2020. The whole thing that happened there, the whole everyone's sick. Everyone needs to go get the you-know-what. Same shit. Same thing. Same exact thing, folks. Both the Fuentes interview and Owens conspiracies have embroiled the party in recent weeks. On Wednesday, Shapiro called on the Heritage Foundation, the powerful conservative think tank whose president defended the interview, to change its tune about Carlson's elevation of Fuentes. Now, I've always said I think Fuentes is a paid agitator. You just got to look at who brought him in. Kanye West brought him to the president's office. Kanye West brings, how do they even know each other? You guys don't question this shit. You guys don't think to yourself like, things that make you go, how do they even know each other? Why would Kanye be hanging out with a guy named Nick Fuentes? A dork? I mean, the guy's, he's really nothing. And now he's risen to this climax of fame where he's just spewing hatred and dividing people more and more. You guys don't see this? This is deliberate. It's infighting. This is what they want. This is how they, quote unquote, they plan to divide the movement. This is how easy it is to see this. They will divide the movement by using Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, all of them, to get them to infight. Now, I don't know how many of them are wittingly or unwittingly a part of this, but I do believe some of them are definitely wittingly a part of this. And I'm going to say Ben Shapiro is absolutely one of them, and Nick Fuentes. But Tucker Carlson did get on stage, fired back at Ben Shapiro, and the war has begun, folks. Now, yeah, I was going to put them both in the thumbnail, but I thought, I'll just leave it on Ben Shapiro. But Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, I cannot believe the silence, the absolute silence Tucker Carlson got after his speech. I mean, it was Ben Shapiro, everyone clapping, roaring, standing ovation. Tucker, you heard some claps here and there, but nothing stellar, nothing like Ben Shapiro. Interesting. Very, very interesting. That's all I got to say. MAGA turn on Donald Trump after pointless address with even his own supporters disappointed. Donald Trump interrupted primetime television on Wednesday evening to boast on all the things he claimed he's been doing for the country while heaping blame on his predecessor, Joe Biden. Now, Alpha Warrior tends to believe this was for a reason, for a purpose. It's because we're going to war. Let's bring in Alpha Warrior. Alpha, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, baby. Good morning.
Yeah. You sound like Austin Powers right there. I'm doing good, baby. Yeah.
$1 million.
So, dude, it was kind of a lot of people are out there saying, he gets up there and just starts listing his accomplishments like he's a narcissist or a megalomaniac. I mean, I'm not denying that, but there was a purpose to this, right?
Absolutely, there was a purpose. And first, I want to just say, your pastor, Reverend act, bro.
In the name of Jesus,
you had me like this, bro.
I've been enough to these revivals, bro. I've seen people get smacked on the head and they faint and they convulse on the floor and shit. I mean, I've seen it all.
I was like, take my money, Nino. Take my money.
I see a $10,000 check. Someone's writing a $10,000 check right now.
Oh, you reminded me of those. I used to see those on TV. Yes, absolutely. There was a reason for that. And I think the one thing is to remind everybody that there's different tiers of the level of awakening. The people watching this show, I consider them like you're the advanced digital soldiers.
100%.
There's the headline. There's, what the story reports. And then there's, okay, what are we supposed to see here? What's really going on? And I want to remind people of that. we're the minority. Us being awake to what's going on, us seeing, calling the BS for what the BS is, the vast majority of the world is not there. The vast majority of the world still relying on MSNBC and Fox and The View and, the Five. They're still there. And, when the lights go out.
Thanks. I like that you promote me on here. It's pretty nice.
With, I'm Mexican, so I'll say when the lights go off, right? We call it the ground. We don't call it the floor. But for those that have the book, if you go to page 193, you describe a scene where you're waking up to the lights, and you're in a panic. You're trying to grab your breath. You see doctors, and you start thinking, did I get knocked out in a fight? Was I in an ambulance? What the heck's going on? And you describe all this stuff that starts happening to you. It was chaos. But that chaos made you start asking the right questions. What's going on? Because you were at a pivotal moment, right? Am I about to die, or what's going on? And so you started to seek answers. You were, as much chaos and confusion as there was, it was also probably one of the most clarity moments in your life, because then you came to the realization of, I got a choice to make.
It was my awakening 100%.
And that's not what just our country is about to go through. It's what all of humanity is about to go through. And I'm going to answer your question. Is this important for people to understand where this is coming from? Sun Tzu, The Art of War. It's about deception and psychological warfare, teaching you to mislead opponents by hiding your true power, appearing weak to invite an attack, or to project strength, to deter a threat. And we know Trump, in countless interviews, he said that he's read this book several times. So that's not something you just arbitrarily throw out in an interview. He wants us to understand, this is how I strategize. And on top of that, you have General Flynn. Now, General Flynn yesterday put out a very long message, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to read an important thing, because it's exactly what we're about to go into in the next few days. At least
in the next few days.
In the next few days. That this is 100%.
My attention now.
This is 100% what my assessment is. And so he starts it off with this. And it's a long post, but I'm going to start this part off here. I'm sorry. After a series of defeats, General George Washington considered the winter of 1776 the most perilous moment of the American Revolution. The Continental Army was weary, an insufficient number of men were willing to stay the course, and morale was shattered. The army had shrunk dramatically, and many believed, as Washington called it, the cause was on the verge of collapse. Washington recognized the untenable strategic position and knew decisive action was required. His bold decision to cross the Delaware River for the surprise attack on Trenton on December 26th, and the evening of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is when he crossed, with the password victory or death, signaled to all of his men that awareness that the failure could end the revolution. Historical accounts, including those from Washington's aides and contemporaries, describe this period as the darkest hour or low point before the victories at Trenton and Princeton revived the Patriot cause. There were still many difficult moments ahead: the long winter crisis, the Valley of Forge, 1777 to 1776. And then General Flynn finishes it with this: America is currently going through an even more severe trial of endurance. Yes, it's different form of warfare. It's fifth generation warfare. Do we recognize it? Are we doing enough? And then he closes it with Ephesians 6:10-18, which is the armor of God. Now, why is that so freaking important? It's what we got to understand is President Trump is saying art of war, appear weak, when strong. And if you look at what's going on with TPOSA, and you did a fantastic job of articulating what a lot of people just saw, on the streaming events, or those that were there in person yesterday, you're just like, gosh, this is one of our powerful,
organizations, and it's been hijacked.
Yeah, and it looks like it's just in disarray. It's like, dang, you got
and that was done on purpose.
On 100%. It was put on display. You know, literally look at the audience they had, and you have one person that has a position with Ben Shapiro, and you have another person, Tucker Carlson, has a position that has shifted in the last 18 months. You know, and he has his reasons for why he articulates that. And then you got General Flynn, who he's come out and publicly a few months ago acknowledged that he formally has advised 𝗀𝗲cie 𝗂𝘁. He has formally advised Pete Hegseth. So we know he's in the ear of the current administration, and he's telling us, hey, Valley Forge, the Trenton and Princeton, you know, the crossing the Delaware, that Washington knew that this was a pivotal moment. Why is that important? Well, Trump comes out and does that speech, and he's between He's between two Christmas trees, and what's the picture right behind him? It was George Washington
crossing the Delaware.
It was just George Washington, but it was two Christmas trees. And why is this important?
Tell me why that's important. Why are the Christmas trees important?
If you go back to General Flynn, it was last week and the week before, he posted some videos that were referencing drops. And in these videos, we get two Christmas trees. There's two cars that are driving. One has a Christmas tree on it. Another has a Christmas tree on it. We did a long decode of it, me and Josh, on this. So they've been signaling the two Christmas trees. You have the White House that went out and posted a picture of two Christmas trees. You had Trump that referenced it. So we know that Trump is saying that we're in between these two moments is what's coming.
It's not because he loves Christmas trees.
I'm pretty sure he does. But it's more than just that. The symbolism here is important. And when you have the general that's telling us, this is not war. Don't think kinetic. You know, yes, we see stuff about to pop off in Venezuela. That is going to happen. Yes, we see them trying to destroy the peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. The European Union, NATO knows that it's cooked. They have to do something. There's the rumors of what's going on with China and Taiwan. That's resurfacing again. So yes, there's a lot of kinetic stuff that's on the brink.
Okay, go on. If we finish, sorry.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's on the brink, but what's the general telling us? That's not where you need to pay attention. It's the psychological warfare that you need to pay attention to, because everybody's saying, hey, we're divided. This is he described this. This is what we're all experiencing, is what the men under General Washington were feeling at the time. Despair. And what he's saying is, if we have the ability to hold the line, we will be victorious. Now, with that, you have to filter out the weak. And we're going to see that. And there's only one reason you filter out the weak. And this comes to what the military does in boot camp. When you're going to go to war, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So you filter out the weak before you go to war. So when you do go to war, you have your strongest men that are with you. And so when you get into the speech that President Trump did the other night, my initial assessment of that, me and Josh, because we streamed it afterwards, we did a debrief on it. I go, when he brought up 1776, hello, it happens to reference, what General Flynn has put out, 1776 and crossing the Delaware and all that. I said, he's talking about a dividend to the troops. And he's talking about, we have the strongest military. He's bringing, it was like he was talking to the troops, because we know what the seditious Sixes did a few weeks ago.
Right.
They went after the troops. And so he's he's boosting the morale of the troops. And the reason it caught my attention is, before we went to war, this is, February of 2003, when I was deployed to Kuwait, because we knew we were going to go to war with Iraq. What did they do to us in the days leading up? They knew, the generals, the staff in charge of the companies, they had already got the orders. They knew what day we were crossing. We didn't, but we recognized the change of behavior. All of a sudden, we're getting a better breakfast. All of a sudden, we're getting a little bit more time for the warm shower. All of a sudden, they're saying, hey, devil dogs, go ahead and shave, start looking proper. We realize something's about to go down.
Right. That makes sense to me. And Tucker Carlson said that Congress was briefed on an incoming war. Did you hear this? So
He did, yeah.
Tucker Carlson told Judge Andrew Napolitano on Wednesday that members of Congress were briefed on a coming war with Venezuela and that President Donald Trump planned to announce the conflict on Wednesday evening, which passed. So maybe that's what's happening today. Members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming and that it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9 o'clock. That was on Wednesday, but maybe it's being announced today, folks. That's why we have to tune in. Trump is expected to speak at 9 p.m. This was on Wednesday. He's in to address what's going to happen, which is a war with Venezuela. So could that happen today? Because he's having another announcement today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in just an hour. So that tells me maybe that's what's coming. Maybe we're getting ready to cross the Delaware.
I don't know what he's going to say because he's operating. So here's what I'll say. As a detective, my strategy, what we rely on is pattern recognition. And what Trump has been doing the last 5 weeks is operating outside of any pattern. Now, that is hard for people to do unless there's a plan to operate that way. It's hard for people not to stick to the pattern of something. You go back to any president, even Biden, even Trump's first administration, there's a pattern in the way things work. And right now, he's not leaving a pattern, which tells me he doesn't want people to know what's coming next, which tells me he is preparing for something that's about to happen. When part of me says, okay, well, he did the address to the nation, which means you're going to bring up all the most important things. And I'll finish up the thought on that. But if you're going to say something now and make another announcement, it would have to be new developing information that's happened since that address and now. Because if it was important, people are going to be like, well, why would you forget it out of that speech if it was important? So I think it's going to have to do with something that has been either confirmed or newly developed from his the addressing the nation to now.
Well, let's not forget that he is, Juanito's come on my program and said that he's going to declare a national emergency at some point soon. We are getting ready to hit the winter solstice, December 21st. That's always been throughout time a pivotal date, right? We always have known that.
Well, here's some evidence to that. It's the same way, Trump's address the nation wasn't for us. That was for the normies and that was for the military. Why? Because we all know what's going on. We're watching this all the time. But what did he do? He tricked everybody. Yet Tucker Carlson that came out and said, hey, this is what I'm hearing. He made every news outlet cover it. But if you notice, and I'm sure everybody notices, look at how fast he was talking. He was like, brrr, he was talking like Josh.
Going through it like, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was talking like our brother. Now, why? Because he knew that mainstream at some point was going to realize this dude ain't going to say we're going to war and we need to cut the feed. But no, he wanted to bring the American morale for the normies up to look at all we've accomplished. He started that speech and ended his speech with the same theme. He goes, the most dangerous thing that happened to this country, we were almost dead, and I stopped it. Biden's invasion, the invasion he allowed. He started the speech with that. And then at the very end, he comes full circle and he talks about, hey, that was the greatest threat, and we addressed it. So obviously, he's the conversation that there was a deployment into this country. So here's what's important. So not President Trump's real Donald Trump account, but his POTUS account on X, formerly Twitter. Yesterday, it posts is this, the POTUS retweets the White House account. And the White House account, I'll tell you guys, pay attention to this. They've been dropping gems the last 2 months. So the White House account, which POTUS reposts, says, President Trump is turning the economy around. So you hear, oh, it's the economy. This is going back to address the nation. But the same way he talks to the normies, if you're listening, he talks to us too. Check out where he goes next. Pulling it back from the brink and setting the stage for an historic boom in all capitals.
Mm-hmm.
Then he ends the post, or the White House ends the post with, the best is yet to come. Why is that important? Because what's one of the things that got us all excited on the 16th? It was when Trump posted on Truth, my fellow Americans, and then he ends it with, the best is yet to come. Now, why are those important? Because then you go to General Flynn, and General Flynn today, this is what he posts. People must start getting arrested. President, and he tags Donald Trump. You will lose this country to a socialist takeover if you don't do what you said. Drain the swamp and hold people accountable. Now, remember, psychological warfare. I think what we're about to see is we're about to see Trump's version of crossing the Delaware. I think they're going to do it in the same time frame, sometime between the 24th and the 26th. We need to pay attention to what that looks like.
I agree with you 100%. It's all going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. It's all going to happen at the exact same time. Probably when we strike Venezuela, when we go, it's all going to happen at once. Mass arrest happened at that time. 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗃 has come out and said that the whole entire temple is going to burn by the end of the year. He's bringing down the whole corrupt temple, right? He has said that. So, and then Don Bongino exits just a couple days ago. So they're perceiving themselves to look weak at such a time as this right now. So everyone's like, oh, damn, Bongino's getting out of there. They're not anticipating, or they can't anticipate Trump's move right now. And that is why I think you're right. Something's going to happen, and probably by this year.
Here's why Bongino's move so important is if you look, well, one is we knew that this was going to happen.
Right.
I was off by 6 months to a year, but if you go all the way back to March, I posted it on X and said, you know, we're probably only going to have him for 2 years. And it was not because of any secret sauce. It's just because, for those that don't know, you know, Bongino's a cancer survivor. And he looked he was in bad shape there for a period of time, and he beat it. You know, the deputy director of the FBI, that is a stressful position. And stress is not good for someone who's a cancer survivor. So we always knew his window was going to be limited. His job was to go in there and change the culture to look like something else. And the guy, and then what do we see? Trump does a move that we've never seen with the FBI. He brings in a second deputy director. And then people were just like, what? Oh, he must be pissed off with Bongino. Bongino's going to get fired. No, Bongino established the culture. Bongino recognized, he formulated his map, and then he said, okay, let's bring in the guy that's actually going to hold this position, gives him OJT. And now that Bongino's confident, now I think they are moving Bongino early. I think Bongino was still going to be there another 6 months or a year. But why is Bongino being brought back to the podcasting world? Because Trump said that. Oh, I think I hear he wants to go back to podcasting. Why? Because if you look, a lot of people that, you know, we'll call it the alternative version of mainstream media, you know, mainstream media rebranded itself in the alt media world. We saw that people that we thought were MAGA, thought were pro-Trump, they flipped. You're talking big voices, and people are crushed. This is what you're saying. People are feeling this divide. They're like, well, hold on. I've been listening to him or her for so long. And so what did Trump do? Is Trump's bringing Bongino back into the podcast miss. Why? Not because of the advanced anons, because a lot of them are like, well, I wanted him to do this and do that, and he didn't. It's because he needs a voice there that the normies listen to, and Bongino has a huge audience.
Big voice.
That are gonna be able to hear exactly what's coming on. So he's bringing in a strategic weapon in the podcast world. At the same time, the General Flynn said it's time to arrest the people. We're going into, you know, the dark winter, the darkest hour. All the troops thought that, hey, this is the end of the revolution. I mean, that's kind of what you're describing here, what we saw at TPUSA and the symbolism. We're in that exact moment that Washington and their troops were, almost to the day.
So the strikes hit Venezuela at the same time arrests go down. That's the way they're going to do it. It's going to be a shock and awe type of thing. How this plays out, right? Are you under that understanding? Is that how you see it?
It's going to have to be something like that, because what are we all talking about right now? We're all talking about TPUSA. We're talking about Candace Owens. We're talking about all this, and we're not talking about the Sovereign Alliance. We've lost focus.
They're distracted, which is why I'm trying to bring their attention back to what we're talking about right here.
Yes, and like any magic show, when they're making you look here, you better look over here.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why this is so important. FBI memos detail a half dozen pay-to-play allegations involving who and her foundation. All of this stuff is happening behind the scenes, and nobody's paying attention to it. They're caught up in the drama with TPUSA, Candace Owens, the whole thing. We should be paying attention to Tina Peters and things like this. Internal investigation files show FBI agents and federal prosecutors attempted to investigate a wide range of activities involving the State Department under the then Secretary of State Clinton a decade ago, including whether foreign donations made to the were used as improper influence on U.S. foreign policy. The FBI and DOJ inquiries were repeatedly shut down by FBI and DOJ leadership. Jeez. Chairman Chuck Grassley's release of the timeline written by federal investigators laying out the repeated political obstruction those agents faced from their own bureau bases, bosses, and the Justice Department during the 2016 election and beyond, as they probed whether Hillary Clinton engaged in a pay-to-play corruption scheme involving her family foundation. Folks, this is big news. This is all happening behind the scenes as everyone's paying attention to the TPUSA. They're trying so hard. They know what's coming. They're trying so hard right now. We're on the precipice to cross the Delaware. They're trying so hard right now to divide the movement. So what any move Trump makes, this is their Hail Mary right here, right, Alpha? This is it. Divide the movement, fracture the movement. Candace versus Nick Fuentes versus Tucker versus Ben Shapiro. Everybody's infighting. They need us divided right now as Trump crosses the Delaware. Correct, Alpha?
100%, bro.
That's what's going on.
100%. You know, John Solomon right now, I firmly believe that this guy is read into a portion. You know, his accuracy is on point. And a couple days ago, he's deleted the tweet now, but a tweet went out and everybody was just, and it was about Michael Bolton, the charges being brought up against him. But everybody was like, hold on, that was back on October 18th.
Isn't it John Bolton?
John Bolton.
I'd say the same thing.
Did I say Michael Bolton?
I think you said Michael Bolton, didn't you?
That's good. It's good music. That's why, baby. That's good music.
He plays a flute. He plays the skin flute.
But yeah. With John,
I was like, you said Michael Bolton.
It's that Mexican side, right? Yeah, they're all the same. But with John Bolton, he goes, I didn't post that. He goes, that's an old post from October. He goes, my tech guys right now are going into seeing why this was posted. And because a lot of people reposted it. And what did it do? It brought the conversation back up. Now, a lot of people have been noticing on X that there are old posts that are, that's the right one.
Show Michael Bolton too, Alex, if you can.
and they probably both play the skin flute.
They probably both play the skin flute, yeah.
Just say. But a lot of people on X have been noticing that these posts from the past, some even years old that are important ones, are repopulating. And now
he is. There's Michael Bolton.
There he is. Look at that hair. There's Jesus. That these posts are coming back up, and there's nothing that would have triggered the algorithm. Nobody liked it. Nobody made a comment. It should be considered a static, stale post, but yet it's coming into the feeds. So somebody is bringing these things back up for us to consider. And so, with Solomon, I would tell people is watch his account, because he's been pretty damn accurate. And he's talking about this. He's keeping the Clinton thing. Like you said, we're trying to keep focus. Because it hasn't really been new news over the last week, but he keeps talking about it. So obviously he's like, you guys better pay attention to this Clinton thing. It's coming. And that's extremely important, because again, what's one thing that Juanito had told you for a very long time now? And a lot of people are like, well, he's always said it. It's a near-death experience.
Right.
He said that an NDE. And
when he says near-death experience, in your mind, when we cross the Delaware, we should be expecting backlash and firing upon America as well. So we should expect terrorist events. Is that what you're saying here? What should we expect in your mind?
Well, the near-death
experience in your mind.
When I picture it, I'm picturing apocalypse, bro. I'm picturing when Nito says, that's what I'm picturing. But remember, the theatrics that's going on is not designed for us. It's for the normies. So when we think about a near-death experience, we got to put our normie hat on. What would a near-death experience for the normies look like? And we're already kind of seeing us move into that. So a near-death experience for the normies is going to be us coming into a World War III, us finding out, hey, President Trump coming out there and saying, hey, this is what looks like it's going to happen. Somebody trying to make it look like
Cuban Missile Style crisis.
Cuban Missile Style crisis.
Maybe the economy, a black swan hits the economy, silver spikes.
I think we're going to see all three, bro.
Yeah,
I think that's what I think. For the normies, they saw what a pandemic did to them. They saw, what the economy getting extremely expensive looked like to them, and that's why Trump brought all these things to the forefront. Look at all these wins. So all of a sudden, when all those wins get rug pulled, and everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?" Because the mainstream media would have you believe that there hasn't been any real positive change. There hasn't been anything really good. And we're creatures that our cognitive mindset, we get influenced by media, not this audience,
So
but
he went out there to boost the morale of the public, and today is going to be very important as well when he comes out. Let's see what he has to say today. What do you think he's going to say today?
Man, there's what I want him to say and what I think he's going to say. I want him to come out and say, hey, we're bringing on General Flynn, or I want him to come on and say, hey, I've given this order to my Department of War regarding Venezuela, or I want him to come out and say, hey, we finally have reached a point of negotiations where it looks like we're going to have peace between Ukraine and Russia. Like, I want those things to be said, but I don't think that's what he's going to come out and say. I think he's going to come out and say something that for us is going to be like, man,
I don't know. Maybe, Juanito's going to be down in South America as well pretty soon. And I know why, but I'll let him talk about that himself. But I think this could have something to do with Venezuela. I think it could. But he's not going to come out and say, hey, and telegraph the moves. He's not going to come out and say, hey, we're going to start striking Venezuela, so buckle up. We're going to hit Venezuela. Then he's going to come out and say, maybe.
I need you to buy me 30 seconds because this one's
oh, dude. Oh my gosh, dude.
Say hi to everybody.
Hey, how are you?
All right, I'll be back in 30 seconds, bro.
Go ahead. I'll hold it down. So, folks, the comment 3i Atlas. I wonder if this has anything to do with anything. But Stuart Swerdlow says this is going to be bigger than people know. Comment 3i Atlas experiencing a non-gravitational acceleration. Are you kidding me? What does this mean? Well, interstellar comet. They're calling it a comet, but it's really a spaceship. 3i Atlas was discovered just 5.5 months ago, and in that time has taken the world by storm. This peculiar object, only the third interstellar object discovered among the thousands estimated to be passing through our solar system, is endlessly fascinating, they say. There has been a few studies in the last several weeks explaining that 3i Atlas is experiencing a non-gravitational acceleration. However, since that sounds a bit like something else could be powering it, an engine of a spacecraft, according to some people, for example, we wanted to make sure people know what this exactly means. There has been a lot of misinformation about this comet, including claims that it was a spacecraft in disguise using its close passage to the sun back in October, a time when the comet was invisible to us due to the sun's brightness, to perform an unseen maneuver and attack our planet. Since none of that happens, the focus is now on the non-gravitational acceleration, which baffles scientists. This is perfect. This is getting crazy. The non-gravitational acceleration means that the celestial body is experiencing an acceleration that is not due to the gravitational force of other planetary bodies or the sun. Is it rockets? No, it could be other things. So they're saying here, this thing's doing some really crazy. It has some anomalies here. I think, in my opinion, this 3i Atlas, I don't know about you, is going to be one of the cards they play. They've been talking about this for the last few months. Is on record stating after her loss to Trump, are we ready to play the alien card yet? I think they're playing it right now, at least prepping and priming people to start looking up into the sky or get ready for whatever they're going to do with AI or however they're going to manage to do this, because they have to play this card soon. I think they're getting it ready to be played very soon. I would say by the time at least 2027. What's your thoughts on this?
I think it's definitely a contingency plan. They're going to play that card.
They have to.
You can't do all this build up. You can't have these Air Force pilots. You can't have these people from NASA go and testify before Congress. make statements like, yeah, we've seen non-human biologics, you know, and imagine what they said in the classified setting. You can't come out and say that, and then everybody just wonder, and then nothing ever come of it. People are going to be like, well, what's going on? And you see what's going on with Three Eye Atlas.
I don't have any, I don't know about you, but I don't have any doubt they're here. I'm sure there's entities here, but who are they and what are they? That's the question.
Well, check this out.
It could be the fallen.
Well, check this out. And my apologies to the audience. I told you guys, she's a little baby terrorist, man. She
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
She could escape. But she is my princess. You know, if you go back, General Flynn had and I'll see if I can find the video, but he did a video out there and he's talking about the government, and he goes, he says something, I forget what the initial word is, and then he corrects it, and he's like, you know, well, this extraterrestrial government. And me and Josh were like, what? Why
was this Flynn?
This was General Flynn.
Wow.
And so then it's just like, why would he? That's a very interesting word to use to describe the government. Like, that's odd. And you know that they communicate through us with movies. Well, there's a movie that came out. It's a kids movie, Zootopia 2. That just came out a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, something like that. And of course, I took my bigger princess to go see it. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, holy smokes. You know, for those that haven't seen it.
Zootopia, is that the name?
Zootopia 2. Okay. Little kid movie. And in the movie, the theme of the movie is, you know, what do we all see? The reptiles. Well, you know, if you believe in the idea of the reptilians, well, they're the bad ones. Right? These are the baby eaters, right? This is what all the conspiracy stuff is about. But in this movie, it tells it. The story is how the reptilians, in the case of the snake, they're the ones that have been the scapegoat. That the actual ones that are telling us that the reptilians are bad are truly the bad ones, and the reptilians, and this is in the movie, folks, had to go underground to survive. Because, you know, they were trying to destroy them, to ruin them. And in the end, you know, the little bunny and the fox find out the truth because, you know, that was hidden. And what do they got to do? It's at the lighthouse.
Oh, jeez.
They have to light up the world for people to see the truth. And I'm sitting here watching this movie. My little one's just like, oh, you know, she's all excited. I'm like, kid, you have no idea.
Wow.
The story that they're freaking telling
out in the open.
Right out in the open. So then you got to ask yourself, right, is this propaganda to make us drop our guard against the reptilians?
Yeah, of course it is. That's because they're going to play this card.
Or is it a movie telling us this is the one? That's it. Or is the movie telling us who you think is the bad guy isn't, and who you think is the good guy?
Well, this would go right down to the spiritual war, right? The Luciferians believe they're right.
Now, this plays into what I think, I'm pretty confident that General Flynn is trying to tell us. I think what TPOSA, what you saw there, is we've become a very tribal society, and not just in America, throughout the world. You know, we see it all the time, you know, and I'm guilty of it. You know, I'm side this, I'm side that, pick a side. And I think what General Flynn, what President Trump, what they're telling us is, if you're picking a side, then they control you. That means somebody articulated a narrative that you said, I buy off on that. That's the side I'm on. I think what they're trying to get us to do in all this confusion is to be like, you don't got to pick a side. Just the truth. That means you can hear some of the things that Ben Shapiro says and says, yeah, I agree with that. But the rest of that, you're full of shit.
Maybe Ben Shapiro's a lizard.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a lizard.
Yeah, you can hear what Tucker Carlson's saying and be like, you know what? I agree with that and that, but I don't agree with that. You can have Candace Owens and be like, okay, I agree with that, not that. Because then what? That means nobody's controlling you. Nobody's making you pick what side to be on. You're just, what you're doing now is you're just pinpointing the truth, the things that resonate with you, to be like, yeah, I'm following this. Because if we have the ability, because and this is how you defeat propaganda, because propaganda has truth in it. So if we go and only extract the truth out of propaganda, as a society, we are going to be dialed in, and they're going to realize we're not splitting these people up no more. They're not picking sides no more. They're and what that
And
means.
what an important organization to take over than TPUSA. Take out Charlie, divide the movement, and that's how you do it. That'd be perfect. Divide the pie in so many pieces. Everyone's fighting with each other, and then you don't have a united party going into this war that they know is going to be waged on them with Venezuela and the arrests.
The reason it's so important to the deep state to destroy TPUSA is TPUSA is a strong symbolic movement of what all of MAGA and America First is. So if you can destroy TPUSA, that means that now all of a sudden it's much more plausible that you can destroy MAGA. Right now, if you ask people MAGA, like, no, it's not. You know, it's if they can symbol, because remember, it's not about the advanced anons, it's about the normies, right? If they can show them that this is destroyed and it was fake, you start to erode the confidence in what MAGA is, what America First is, and that's
right,
what you're saying.
If he can't take the people with him into what he's about to do, he's screwed. He's got to. That is why he had that presidential address and the morale boost. That's what it was about. Now let's see what this next one's about. But let me read some articles, folks. We're closing out here. Alpha, am I going to get you on Nino'sCorner.tv right after this?
Absolutely.
We'll do a quick segment on there. Folks, Home Depot, get this, Alpha, installs noise machines that prevent laborers, or it actually penetrates the bones to deter day laborers. A Home Depot in Los Angeles installed 3 high-pitched noise-emitting machines outside to deter day laborers from seeking business or work, causing them to suffer headaches and nausea. Advocates alleged at a press conference on Wednesday. The Institute, advocacy organization that helps day laborers, called for the second removal of these machines from Home Depot's Cypress Park location. This would have to affect the customers too, right? I mean, if you're going to Home Depot and it's penetrating your bones, that's not going to just... It's not going to deter immigrants. It's going to deter everyone, business.
No, actually, so this is a military weapon.
Does it only affect Mexicans or what?
No, it's actually, you can pinpoint it. You can even pinpoint how far out it goes.
What? And Home Depot's using this?
So this is what's crazy to me. I didn't know this. This is the first time I'm hearing about this, and I'm tripping out because this is a military weapon. This is something that
this is what they used in World War II in Nazi Germany.
So I'm like, what? I'm telling you, I'm in shock right now that a commercial company has something like this. Now, maybe they don't have it to the military grade, but this is still what's used in the military. Now, here's the other thing that's interesting. Then if Home Depot's using this, why not allow ICE to use this at all these different facilities where they're getting attacked?
I bet you're right. Right, or they're using it at the these towers they have all over the city. You know what I'm talking about?
Or is this the beta test? This, remember, because the court of public opinion, that's what you're talking about right now. Are they trying to measure the public response to something like this? And if people aren't freaking out, it's like, okay, we're going to show Home Depot used it. We'll probably show another store uses it. And then that way, all of a sudden, when we allow ICE to use it, and people say, oh, it'll be like, well, you didn't have an issue when Home Depot did it. You didn't have an issue.
Right. So they're putting these articles out on purpose to kind of like...
They want to measure the court of public opinion.
The response. So let's get to what the fuck news, and then we'll take some super chats. All right, Alpha, stay with me. What the fuck news? So, okay, you can't be one at the same age. Alpha, if someone your age comes up to you and starts putting the moves on you from the same sex, are you going to say you them, or are you going to say no? You agreed to it. It's consensual. So get this shit. In a new documentary, Corey Feldman alleges that Corey Haim him while making The Lost Boys. So in Marcy Hume's new documentary, Corey Feldman vs. the World, the child star alleges that Corey Haim while making the 1987 film The Lost Boys. Feldman and Haim skyrocketed to fame in 1980s after working together on blockbuster movie and quickly became young Hollywood heartthrobs. They collaborated on popular comedies, including License to Drive and Dream a Little Dream, and basked in being Hollywood's royalty in their early teens. Haim died in 2010. Haim died in 2010. He was only 38 years old. When he did Lost Boys, Corey said to me, "Hey man, let's mess around," Feldman says in the doc. And I said, "What do you mean?" According to Feldman, Һēma said, this is what, what guys in the business do to each other, right? You suck each other off. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, Charlie Sheen told me it was okay. Sheen has denied and contested Feldman's claims, saying these sick, twisted, and outlandish allegations never occurred, period. I kind of think they did, in my opinion. But Feldman goes on to tell Hume that although he knew that Һēma wanted that from the meeting, he set it up. I called Һēma and said, come over. But, when you have got somebody that's trying to come at you sexually and you don't want that, and you're just a kid and you're scared, you do whatever you can to stop it from happening. And that's what was happening. I was being by Corey Haim. Truth be told, Feldman told Hume, you can't be if you're the same age, dude. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know about that. Just saying.
Unless one of them is like the size of the Hulk, and the other one,
and that's not what's happening. No.
But in a situation like that, it's like at a minimum, all you got to do is walk away.
Yeah, or I don't. Yeah, bro, you're kidding, right? I'm out of here. Take it easy.
Or clock.
Bam, chingazo. Dude, this guy, I like watching Feldman because I've never seen anybody so unaware. He has zero. Have you seen this guy perform?
No, not recently.
Dude, no. I promise you, if you go down the Corey Feldman rabbit hole, you'll never turn back. You'll just keep going down it. It's insanity. What are you telling me? You've never seen his musical performances?
No,
dude.
I didn't even know he did musical performances.
Dude, he thinks he's Michael Jackson. Bro,
I haven't watched them since the movie days.
It's so incredibly bad. It's good. It's so bad. It's good. You've got to, dude. This guy's insane. I'm telling you right now. You got to. There he is. It's Corey's Angels. He has like a backup dancers, the whole thing. You got to watch this guy, dude. It's insane.
What?
Once you go down the Corey Feldman rabbit hole, you will never come out of it. I've never seen anybody so unaware, have zero self-awareness in my life. This guy has zero self-awareness. This guy. Anyway, let's take some super chats. Let's get some super chats in here. Cindy Shipley, enjoy your few days away, Nino. Just home for 10 days in Maui. I'm pleased to report Lahaina is slowly rebuilding. Yeah, probably into a smart city. It's looking good. They opened the harbor on the 15th. Prayers of health to Pop. Thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you so much. Kelly Ray, something with this whole TPUSA just rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, I agree. I see more division coming. Pray hard. Thank you, Nino. Love you big. Love you back. Lucia Robertson, thank you so much for the super sticker. Samajalan, 50% off Nino's Corner is for new customers. Yes, just for the new customers, absolutely. And it's just for the annuals. Kelly Panetsky, super sticker, thank you so much. Wayne Bruce, been following you since day one. Stay strong and keep it real. Prayers for you and your family every day, sending love and vibrations because you're on the front line. I appreciate that. So does Alpha. Thank you. Real estate news with Catherine. Merry Christmas. Get you and your assistant Christmas coffee. Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you. Wow. Mark Vine. Let's go. Let's get the show on the road. Enough is enough. What an epic podcast with Gene Decode. Yeah, I know that guy his IQ is out of this world, and I absolutely love your interviews with him. It's time to crash the damn system. God bless you, champ, and I hope your dad and mom are doing well. It's a rough road. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You always come through, Mark. Samajalan, you must at least 2,000 to visit Brazil right now. You must have at least 2,000 to visit Brazil. Wow, I don't really plan to go there anytime soon. I heard they're going to get hit probably next. Samajalan, 2.2 million Home Depot theft operation in 9 states. Wow. Doesn't surprise me. All right, that's it. Alpha, I'll see you at Nino's Corner right now. I'll send you a link. All right, I'll send you a link right now. Let's kill it over there. All right, folks, we're out of here. Thank you for joining. I'm going to do a show with Alpha right now on Nino's Corner.tv. 50% off all annuals right now. Get over there. We'll see you there right now. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of